Hello and welcome to Cake Island Mermaids. Here's another progression in their progress. There's no particular story happening here. It is just a group of mermaids I made in Create a Sim or found in my library, and they were ordinary Sims in most cases, and I then turned them into mermaids because I hadn't done anything with mermaids and I thought they'd be quite colourful, and that turned into my Colourful Mermaids video, which is still going, but the Colourful Mermaids video series is showcasing a build I did in Isla Paradiso. The Cake Island Mermaids have been moved to Cake Island, where I'm setting up a world ready for me to move my McFluff story from Hidden Springs to Cake Island. Now I've got an empty version of Cake Island. There's almost no buildings on it, and there's no townies. There's only service sims that get generated as I add buildings. Now the mermaids in this series of videos I'm making now are going to become townies in the McFluff story. Now this is the house I'm building the mermaids. They've got a huge pool on the surface which allows them to get sunburned and dry out during the day. So then I had to go underground and build them a even huger pool in the basement. And I'm using all sorts of fantasy plants all around the lot because it's going to be a magical place, because in the McFluff story the witches are turning their cats into humans. Well, they're trying to work out how to do that. And they have a lot of cats. But here we see the lower levels as I've currently got them in the mermaid's home. This is a huge home. I'm going to leave 8 mermaids in here, as I don't want to have overstuffed houses for my townies. And then I'll build another house for the other mermaids, and another house yet for the humans that I've got here. Then I'll be moving additional sims into the world and building houses. So there's going to be quite some interesting... I might even put orcs in here and make some new sims of my own with some of the interesting skins I've downloaded over the years. So the indoor pool is quite dark and mysterious. I've added a few corals and things into it and some coloured lights around it, but I'm not going to do any more to the pool. I've got Jim Reed there. He's watering the garden. He's an old sim that I made years ago, and he's human. I think I've given him a custom content skin now, though. The other humans in this particular video, there's a shark in their pool. I'll have to get rid of that shark spawn. I don't really want them spawning in this pool. I put the spawners in there as an experiment. Didn't work. Anyway, Jim Reed is an old sim from probably 2010 when I made him as a family man. And for some reason I just grabbed him out of my library just because he was there, and I hadn't played him for about 5 years. He's still in his original clothes and original hair from way back when. The other human sims I've got in here are sims that I made when I first started downloading custom content skins. And I was experimenting with those skins. Plus there's one other who used to be the butler in the not the Isla Paradiso so much, in the Colourful Mermaids videos, but he was not turning up to work at all. I found him in town, just playing around town, so I put him in the household, and he's come here to Cake Island. He's the one with the top hat. Now all the mermaids are enjoying their indoor pool at the moment. Most of them seem to have decided to use the slippery slide to get in. Now I brought the 4 mermaids that come with Isla Paradiso into this group, so they're the 4 that I'll probably move out eventually into their own home. Now, unfortunately, there's a bug in the game, and as a result, they lose their tails and scales. But I've got a mod, and I've been able to add the tails and scales back in. But with that mod, the tails and scales for the females default to purple, and for the males they default to pale blue. Now, these 4 mermaids were originally made with very distinct tails and scales colours. Now, in a previous other series, in the Isla Paradiso bunch, I got Judy to clone Triton King, and his clone turned out to have Triton King's original scale colour. He's only a toddler yet, so I haven't seen his tail, but his scales are yellow and orange, which I noticed, and I saw an old picture of Triton King, are the same colour as Triton King originally had. So what I'm planning to do now with this particular video, but not this actual episode, is I'm going to get some of my Sims in here to really learn the science skill so they can clone other Sims. And I will make clones of all 4 of the Isla Paradiso default mermaids to find out the exact correct colours for all of their tails. And then I will be able to recolour my mermaids that I brought here from Isla Paradiso. Except there'll then be clones of them running around as well. But maybe I'll give their clones different traits, so they won't be quite the same, and they'll also be different ages. Haven't quite worked out how I'll do that yet, but that's where I'm planning to take this particular series from here on. Is we're going to clone the 4 Isla Paradiso default mermaids to get their tail colours, and we're going to do it in this actual series of videos. And I'll do that while I'm still adding things to their house. I don't want to add too much to it, or it'll make the game become a bit unplayable. So their garden isn't going to be one of my normal massive gardens. They'll just have a few things growing under there. Now here they are taking a nighttime swim. They're going out to their dive lot. Now I built this dive lot based on some memories I had vaguely of years ago building dive lots, and also watching some existing dive lot videos on how to make them. And so from that I managed to get this dive lot built. But what I really objected to was them flying through the air as they crossed the boundary of the dive lot. So as they swim along, you'll see them leap up into the air for a few paces, and then they flop back down into the water. So this set me on the quest of discovering again, because I'd completely forgotten, but I had a vague idea how I did it, but I didn't quite remember exactly how I actually managed earlier on, back when Isla Paradiso was first released. I was getting my mermaids and swimmers to swim through the dive lots without that leap into the air, but I couldn't remember how I did it. So that led me to about a week of real time doing some research and experimentation, and I finally remembered and worked it out, and I turned it into a step-by-step video, which has been quite popular since I posted it, of how to build a dive lot. It goes for quite a while because I've taken time with it and put the step-by-step instructions up, numbered and over the screen, so you can actually write them down as you go, so that you can then have written instructions after seeing how it's done, and just write them down in a notebook, and be able to build your own dive lot where your mermaids don't float through the air when they cross the dive lot boundary. See, they go up in the air there? That's the problem that I have solved with my own video. If you don't mind them flying through the air as they go across the boundary, well then that's okay. I don't object to you enjoying that, but I don't like it. So that's why I spent the week or so searching how to do it, and then I made the video, because the boats don't float in the air either on my dive lots made with my instructions. Here you're just seeing the mermaids go up in the sky, but the boats do it as well when they cross the dive lot boundary. However, in the video instructions I've done in my video, all that flung through the air doesn't happen. So it looks like they've all decided to go home again without actually doing any diving, and that is not what I had in mind. So we're going to have to get them back under control and make them all come back. At least you get to see all the flying through the air again. I will be replacing this dive lot, rebuilding it. I don't think I'll do a video of it though, because you've seen videos of me building dive lots. So I will replace this dive lot so that they don't fly through the air when they arrive at it or leave it. So this is down below. You can tell the mermaids I brought from Isla Paradiso, the one with the long red hair is Mia Azul. She's got the purple tail. So if they've got females with purple tails, except for Suki, if she's still, Suki might still have her purple tail. I changed her tail colour as well. But the females with purple tails and the males with pale blue tails, there's Triton King in the middle there. They're the ones that came from Isla Paradiso. The rest I made myself. I've been having a lovely time. Look, there's a seahorse. You hardly ever see them. That's a great find. They're very difficult to find. Often they spawn in amongst seagrass and they float around inside it. But that one's right up high. She's going to catch it. I might get it mounted and put it on the wall so that to prove that we've actually captured a seahorse. That's Ella. I'm not sure. I think there might be Estelle, I might have called her in this game. She was originally Ella. One of my very first Sims I made back. She's opened up that. So she's one of the very first Sims that I made way back in 2009. And I played her, which is one of my favourite Sims actually. Haven't played her for years because she used to annoy me in the end because she loved to play in the sprinklers all the time because she loves the outdoors. So I went off using loves the outdoors trait for quite a few years, but I'm back to it now because I don't use sprinklers anymore. And then I thought, well, I might as well go back to Ella because I really do enjoy having her in a game. So this version of her, it's got the same traits and the same hair. I just gave her a new skin, changed her lipstick and gave her a tail, turned her into a mermaid. There's another version of her in this particular game as well. I think I've called her Julia, and she's got long curly blonde hair. And she's got different traits and a different coloured tail. Actually, Julia started out me just giving Ella a makeover. I'd start doing something, then I get another idea, and then I get another idea, and something else completely different ends up happening. So it looks like we're going to be watching Estelle chase fish and things from under the sea. I'm really keen to do that bit where I'm going to clone those 4 mermaids to find out what their original tail colours were. Because apparently it's written somewhere on the internet with the numbers, actual numbers for the 4 different parts of the tail, but I haven't been able to find it, and I think I'd rather spend time in my game learning how to clone them and actually cloning them to give me the same answer than just spend days and weeks and months trolling the internet trying to find the answer. And once I find the answer, I'll post it. I'll probably make another little tutorial on changing the adding the tails to the mermaids and getting them their original colours back. It'll only be quite short because you won't have to clone them to do it, because I'll give you the answer in the tutorial. I think she must be the only mermaid still down here. The rest must have all gone home. Oh, there's another dive chest, treasure chest. I wasn't very happy with the way I set that one up, because it sort of looks a bit artificial, that shelf there, but I've never actually gone diving in real life, so I don't know what it would look like naturally, and that could be little shelves like that around in nature. There's a bottle. There are some other Sims down, or mermaid Sims down here. I had to make them dive lots because initially I had the idea that I would just put them in their swimming pools to keep them hydrated, but I discovered that they get a need to be in salt water, so it's not good enough to just have a swimming pool. So when I first put them in this world, I didn't actually plan to build a dive lot. It's just one thing's led to another. And this is the end of the video. I'll just leave them down here swimming around, because they're mermaids. They don't need to worry about being able to breathe above the surface. They just get tired and go home for a sleep when they're ready. So bye bye for now. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Happy simming.